Everybody knows Dan, and Dan knows everything. All you have to do is ask him. He's a public service person. He's a city council, county treasurer, county commissioner. He's really committed to getting things done, not just for the city of Bangor, which he loves, but the whole region. Late 90s, I worked for the city of Bangor, and he was a freshman city councilor. And in that first term of his, we redeveloped the waterfront. We brought the University of Maine Museum to town. We brought the folk festival here. And Dan was a big part of all of those actions because he's a guy of action. He comes to every meeting prepared. He always knows his stuff. Sometimes he ruins it by an inappropriate joke at the end, but getting there is really good. And he's the kind of person you want to have in public office. Yeah, Dan loves Bangor, but there's one person that he loves even more, and that's Molly.
I have heard that before. And I'll tell you, he does love me, but he does love Bangor. Dan gets up at 5:30 every morning and is out the door 7 days a week. And he's out every evening at meetings, at interviews, whatever is needed. If somebody needs something, he is out. Growing up on Palm Street, and down the street was, of course, the Baldaccis, he hung out down there. So Mr. Baldacci was big into politics way back in the day, and I think he followed that lead.
Well, I've known Danny Tremble since we were in first grade. We grew up on Palm Street together. We went to Abraham Lincoln, Garland Street, Bangor High School together. He was over to my house so often that my mother wanted to know if he was one of hers. Well, Danny's a fighter. And when he feels that something is being handled wrong or unjustly, he'll go in there. He's not afraid to fight and to stand up for his values. You know, I'm not the only Baldacci that's particularly proud of Dan's work.
This is Governor John Baldacci. Dan and my brother Joe grew up together on Palm Street in Bangor, and I was very proud what they were both able to contribute to the city, and never thinking of it as I watched them walk to Abraham Lincoln School that they would end up being two mayors of Bangor. He was always a Baldacci, and he was always treated and considered part of our family.
When Gabby Price was the head football coach at Bangor High School, Danny was the manager of the football team. Gabby offered him a job when he needed a job at the Fairmount Market. Then Gabby offered to sell him the Fairmount Market.
My wife and I, Mary, sold Fairmount Market to Danny in the early 90s. Danny was working there a little bit and had that kind of spirit. You knew he was going to be successful, and he just was. He's done a tremendous job. His store's never been better. His employees liked him. I don't know anybody that doesn't really like Danny. They'd have to have something wrong with him.
He loves running Fairmount Market. He is a meet the people guy. And if you come in to talk to Dan, and you tell him where you went to school, anything about you, he will remember it for life.
35 years at Fairmount, he should know what his customers want. So I've known Dan since CCD. That's where we met, probably in middle school, and we've been friends ever since. And he's always been, he started his first business as maybe not a teenager, but early 20s, and he's always been an entrepreneur. And Dan is authentic. I don't know if there's much of a difference between the professional Dan and the personal Dan. You know, he's someone you can count on.
Sometimes Joe Perry, Joe Baldacci, Danny, and Lee will all go out. I'm surprised they don't get into more trouble. I would say Lee is the instigator, and Joe and Danny would follow Lee into any kind of shenanigans.
I think Danny is one of the hardest workers there is. He really has good business acumen, in my opinion, as well as political acumen. And today, we see Dan working to make Bangor stronger. But he is also working equally hard for Penobscot County.
You know, after all his years on the council, I can understand why he would want to be a county commissioner. Dan has always wanted to be involved with public service, and I just think he viewed the county as where he could be most effective. And I think it was a great move for him, and I think it's a great move for the county.
He's very loyal, has great integrity, all those intrinsic values that you would see in somebody that has had the success that he's had.
You can't walk into a place without Dan waving to everybody and saying hello to everybody, and wherever he goes, he's the mayor of that place.
Danny, congratulations. This award was made for someone like you, and particularly you. The things that you've given to this town, the schools, everything about Bangor and the region, you've just been terrific.
You represent the best of Bangor in terms of values and ethics and hard work and commitment. And this is an appropriate award for you.
Dan, I've known you since CCD. We've turned out just fine. Congratulations on winning this award. Well done, my friend.
Dan, congratulations. I thought you won this award years ago, considering how much you've bragged about everything you do. So congratulations. I really appreciate our friendship, what you do for the community, and I hope you win many more awards.
Danny, I just want you to know how proud I am of you and what you've been able to contribute and accomplish. And you've never forgotten about your roots. You've never forgotten about taking care of your mother and father, and I'm very proud of what you've been able to accomplish.
Congratulations, Danny. Now everyone in Bangor knows what I've known all along, all the energy and time you have given to Bangor. And I couldn't be more proud of you. I love Bangor, but as you know, I love you more.
And now,
Ladies and gentlemen,
We invite you to join us.
as we honor
Our Norbert X. Dowd Award winner, Dan Tremble.